Hello and welcome to another blog about one of my lenses. This is the 18 to 55mm crop sensor lens. As you can see on Amazon, it's retailing for around £130, and a lot of people slate the kit lens and think it's not very good. Now I compared this to my Sigma 2.8 lens, which is 17 to 50mm. You can work out the crop factor, just times it by 1.6 to work out your true millimetre frame. I found this lens really sharp. Now this is the Mark II, not the STM version. If you're interested in doing video, go for the STM version. It's a bit more money, but it's better for video. Now the only downside obviously is a 3.5 to 5.6, not a f2.8 aperture. If you don't know what that means, basically the hole in this that lets light in is quite small, but if you get something with a smaller number such as 2.8 or 1.8, your aperture that lets light in is a lot bigger, and the result of that is you can blow your backgrounds out, and also your shutter speed is a lot higher as well. But I wanted to talk about this lens rather than go into the debate of bokeh and apertures and all that, and just basically tell you my experiences of using this lens. When I compared it with the Sigma, I found this lens quite sharp, in fact sharper than the Sigma lens. A lot of people slate the kit lenses and think you need to get a 2.8 lens to do good professional work that can be sold or presented. Maybe you're doing a presentation at college. This lens is more than capable of producing sharp images. Don't discount it, because I found it to be a versatile lens. Sure, it's made out of plastic, most of it, and obviously it's got a plastic mount rather than a metal mount that obviously I'd ideally like to see, because it's but means it's got a better construction to it if it's got a metal mount generally, because plastic, as everyone knows, isn't as hard as metal. But I've not experienced any problems with the plastic mount as such. Focus is smooth, it has a good feel to the zooming action. Downside obviously to this lens is obviously the focusing ring there is quite small. However, you get used to it. And it's quite a good range really, 18 to 55. If any of you guys are interested, as my maths isn't fantastic, let's work this out. So, if you ever wanted to figure out what your crop factor is, just do this. So it's 1.6 times 18mm at the short end. So basically this is what your 35mm full frame equivalent would be. That's 28.8mm at 18mm point on the lens. And let's work out what it would be at the long end. So it's 1.6 times 55 equals 88mm. So on a full frame on this particular EFS lens, if you was to work out the equivalent of what you're getting on your lens, it's 28.8mm to 88mm. So it makes this lens quite a decent portrait lens really, because your ideal portrait focal length is between 77 and 85mm. So you can use this for doing portraits. Obviously the depth of field issue is you might not be able to blow the background out as much, but rather than spend a lot of money on a 2.8 lens, you could go a different route. What you could do is use this for your general photography, but if you want to do portraits, buy yourself the nifty 50mm STM lens, and let's just have a look at that while you're here. 50mm STM. There it is, the EF 50mm 1.8 STM lens. This is an ideal lens if you want to do portraits. Just so we get an idea of what the millimeters works out at. 1.6 times 50 equals 80 millimeters. So basically it's an 80 millimeter 1.8 lens, and go for the STM version because that's ideal for doing video, because obviously the motor isn't as noisy as the micro motors or the USM motors. So I just wanted to give you a rough idea of what you could get as an alternative to buying a 2.8 lens. But I did do some tests. I actually did a video where I actually compared this to the actual Sigma 17 to 50 2.8 lens, the crop sensor version they brought out. My results showed this is sharper than the Sigma lens. However, obviously the Sigma has the capability of blowing your backgrounds out quite a bit more than this. But there are certain techniques you can use to actually achieve a good amount of blur in the background. A lot of times is if you're able to, and you can basically go into a large area like a field or something like that, you can normally basically position the lens in a way that you can achieve a good amount of blur in the background. The only times you're limited is if you're in a confined space, like in a studio or you know, near trees or something like that, where you might not be able to blow the background as much because basically you're in a confined space. Because I tried the Sigma 150-600 telephoto lens, and I tried this out, and you can actually blow the background out well beyond what a 2.8 lens can, or even a 1.8 lens can, by using a telephoto lens at extreme magnification such as 600 millimeters. But I just wanted to do a bit of a blog to discuss this lens in particular. You won't be disappointed, guys, honestly, you won't. A lot of people think they've got the kit lens and it's not very good. Well, it's actually pretty good. It might have been true many years ago, kit lenses weren't that sharp, but the modern day lenses are getting really sharp. So I hope this video was a little bit educational, and don't be afraid to use kit lenses, guys. Thank you.